What makes Alicent Hightower such a complex figure is the stark contrast between her public political persona, defined by virtuous restraint, and the privately ruthless lengths she goes to in order to secure Targaryen supremacy for her bloodline. In the shadow game of power, operating just underneath courtly propriety, Alicent disguises cutthroat intention with layers of performance, presenting herself as the king's humble servant, content to subvert all personal interests towards stability for the realm. This carefully crafted show hides in plain sight the contradictions of her nature. For despite declarative self-sacrifice to king and kingdom, Alicent in truth has always quietly operated with cool detachment to advance the influence of House Hightower by any means necessary. She comprehends better than most the political value she provides as currency, first as a compassionate counselor to King Viserys as his wounds over losing a wife run deep. Alicent mines her emotional connection brilliantly, building trust through confidant chemistry rather than physical affair. She exhibits patience beyond her young age, intuiting that the greater prize of queenship will elevate the Hightower's significance beyond even her calculating father's ambitions. Once she transitions to sharing the king's bed out of duty, Alicent gives herself wholly to ensuring heirs that would deny Rhaenyra ascendance. Though her exterior casts the image of a surrendering passive player in the machinations swirling around her, make no mistake. Alicent understands precisely the game afoot at all times, even as she enhances her influence by whispering prudent guidance in the king's ear. She hides keen political instincts underneath the conduct expected of a lady at court. Especially in channels unseen by political players, Alicent wields razor-sharp intellect despite whatever appearances of propriety she must adopt within the spotlight. But the kingdom underestimates her at their own peril, as her diplomatic veneer starts showing tears following King Viserys' passing. As competing claims over lineage and birthright explode into chaos, the newly widowed Alicent swiftly unveils more naked ambition, aggressively lobbying for support for her son Aegon to seize rule as the purported heir to the throne over rival Rhaenyra. Once willing to conceal cunning behind virtue and duty, Alicent openly begins wielding coercive tactics and veiled threats to force outcomes favoring her children over qualified contenders. When appealing to the small council's sense of reason fails to secure Aegon's unchallenged declaration as successor, Alicent turns publicly caustic, openly questioning rivals' legitimacy and fitness to manage kingdom affairs. She sanctions her political champion Sir Criston Cole's violent maneuverings to handicap Team Black, exposing a new shamelessness that gives way to desperately preserving her family's best interests, whatever the cost. Where she once sermonized about regal responsibility, now Alicent spews diatribes about honor, justifying whatever serves Aegon II's hostile ascension. Yet revelations of Alicent's concealed intentions shine brightest away from managing public impressions in King's Landing. In her shadow exchanges with Otto Hightower and Larys Strong, Alicent strips bare pretense to reveal the unvarnished political creature underneath. Ever the dutiful daughter, she compels Otto to exercise the full might of Hightower forces in eliminating threats to what she believes should be her son's birthright. Away from the cameras, Alicent drops all measure of sisterly compassion for one-time friend Rhaenyra, instead branding her a traitor for daring to muddy succession clarity with her claim. In Alicent's intimate offstage moments, the depth of her deception comes into full focus. In unguarded exchanges, she spouts venom and bile towards the princess, whose childhood bonds once granted Alicent passage straight into the king's sympathetic graces. But to Alicent, any relationship must bow down to transactions, ensuring her lasting legacy through the crown finding its way to her eldest boy's head. Hidden beyond the sightlines of the masses and the theatre of propriety, Alicent skins off false niceties to reveal she will poison anyone naive enough to stand in the way of her son's ascendance. Behind the veil thrived no ethical limits to secure Targaryen power under an iron Hightower fist. So when servants whisper away from watchful ears about what drives the new Queen Mother, remember that she sees sacrifice as for the weak. Recall ambition flows openly from those honest about intentions, while Alicent's pretty lies conceal the ugliest coveting. There are wolves wandering the kingdom garbed in sheep's clothing, so beware sisters selling platitudes about family bonds. Even as we memorialize the passing of peace between two houses, the war has already long since begun hiding behind one woman's smiling eyes.